So Kim's Taco in Gangnam invited my family and I to go to their restaurant and try out some of their food. And my husband and I had really low expectations because generally in Korea it's hard to find good Mexican food. But we were actually really surprised, and we found this to be a really authentic spot for tacos. And when I say authentic, I mean authentic Mexican food from Los Angeles. Koreatown, Los Angeles is an ethnic enclave that has a high concentration of both Korean Americans and Latinos living side by side. And as a result, you see these Koreans who have grown up eating a lot of Mexican food from carts and food trucks before food trucks became a thing. So I'm not going to pretend like I grew up there. I grew up in Cerritos, which is about 40 minutes from Los Angeles, and I didn't grow up eating that kind of Mexican food. But my husband did, so he has some very strong opinions on Mexican food, and he actually makes the best tacos I know out of everyone, so we rarely go out to eat Mexican food. But he did give his stamp of approval to Kim's Taco. In this video, I had a chance to interview Eric Kim, who's the owner of Kim's Taco. I hope you guys enjoy it.
I think you have to be passionate, because otherwise it wouldn't be a business, it'd be a job. And once you feel like this is a job, then you'll never progress. You'll always stay stagnant because you always settle. But if you think of it as a business, then you can sacrifice your time, your energy, and your effort to try to make it succeed and make it better. My name is Eric Kim, hence Kim's Taco. Yeah, I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, and I moved to Korea about 3.5 years ago to start a business. I'd say my favorite food is probably tacos first, and then pizza, and then hamburgers. I like New York style pizza. I wanted to open up one of those. I came to Korea, there was a lot of pizza competition, a lot of pizza restaurants, and Koreans like sweet pizza. So I felt like maybe this wasn't a market for me. Again, my favorite food is Mexican food, so I went around eating at all the Mexican restaurants here in Korea and realized that nobody was really doing tacos like LA. It was pretty hard because I couldn't speak Korean very well, and I can't read or write Korean that well. So it was pretty difficult, but I had a good support network. Had friends who owned businesses in Itaewon, so they were able to kind of guide me through all the processes and kind of link me up with vendors. And I learned all my recipes from my friends' parents. Growing up in LA, I have a lot of Mexican friends, so they would invite me over for dinner. I was always interested in cooking, so I went in their kitchen, learned how to make their recipes and stuff. I mean, honestly, I had no culinary experience like in a professional level. I always was just a home cook, I guess you could say, but I had a lot of labor-intensive jobs, and I guess those jobs kind of got my mindset ready to work hard and sweat and not complain about it, right? A lot of the recipes are a little difficult to emulate here in Korea because of the ingredients, so I had to kind of just wing certain things to find substitutes. Mainly peppers. So peppers are usually the biggest issue here in Korea. Jalapenos is actually very difficult to get in Korea unless you get it in a can, but just like the dried chilies, like guajillo chilies, ancho chilies, like even aldabor, like it's pretty difficult to get those chilies, so we do import those chilies in from the States, but since it's so costly, like we can't import too much, so I had to find some substitutes, go around, try different Asian chilies that kind of was similar to certain Mexican chilies, and yeah, really just trial and error. It took me a really long time to get a recipe that I was content with, because I always wanted to serve food that I would eat myself, not just because it's cheap or just because I can make it or just because it's easy. I really wanted to make food that I would eat myself and wouldn't have an issue buying it myself. We were originally called Kim Taco. It was kind of a play on King Taco, so it was Kim Taco instead of King Taco, and we used the King Taco logo. And what happened was I got a cease and desist letter from King Taco saying that I had to change my logo and change my name. So we had to add the S. I wanted to go to Itaewon because of course that's where the foreign market is, or that's where the most foreigners are, I guess you can say. But I wanted to open up in Gangnam, one, because I live close by, so it's convenient for myself. But I wanted to go to a market where there wasn't that much competition. So I wanted to open up south of the river, that was my goal. And I had an opportunity to actually open up in the Minjok's food court right here, right up the street. I was there for about 18 months, so that's where we really just started and got our foot wet, I guess you could say. And then after that, since we built a good clientele of customers around this area, we decided to stay in this area so that they can keep coming back. When we first came here, it was just bare concrete. We liked the concrete vibe, but if you think about Los Angeles, you think tacos and graffiti. I wanted to bring in some graffiti in here to kind of give it that LA vibe. We just wanted to bring you know, a little piece of LA in the heart of Gangnam. Just building a network of vendors, and I think that was probably the most difficult hurdle to get over because since you know I'm a kyopo, it's a lot of these bigger vendors, they don't want to work with us, or they kind of like look, because I'm a kyopo, Korean American, so since I can't even communicate with them that well, they're kind of hesitant to give us service, or they don't want to bring us their food. So I guess those are the biggest hurdles. I think it's getting a little easier. My Korean's getting a little bit better, so it's getting easier, but I would say if you couldn't speak Korean at all, then it's pretty difficult. So since I grew up in Koreatown, I used to work at a cell phone store for about 5 years, so I had to sell cell phones to Koreans, so I had to speak, you know, a little bit of Korean at least. Because in my household growing up, we never spoke Korean. My parents would talk to me in Korean, but I would always answer in English, and I'd say simple things like pop and simple things. Yeah, they immigrated to Korea before I was born, of course. And then gave birth to my older sister, and then I was born 3 years later. Honestly, they're not too happy about it because they're like, why'd you go to school and get a degree if you were going to come open a taco shop? But you could have done this without a degree, so why did you waste all that time and effort? And they're a little bit upset, but of course they're my parents, so they still support my decision. I grew up in Koreatown, so the most famous Mexican restaurant in Koreatown would probably be El Torino. El Torino is a sister or brother company, I guess, of King Taco. They're linked up together, so their sauce, their food, I mean everything, I grew up eating that all the time. Yes, it is inspired by the El Torino King Taco sauce. Through trial and error, lots of trial and errors. I probably made about 200 batches trying to get it right. I still don't think it's 100% there, but I'd say I'm closer than anybody else in Korea. So we'll start bottling it soon and selling it, so hopefully we can get closer. I would say our number one seller is tacos, interestingly enough. We get a lot of business workers here, just real Koreans, but they still seem to like our tacos, and I'd say that's definitely our number one seller. Since we press our tortillas fresh by hand, they're less susceptible to getting soggy and breaking, I guess you can say. The reason the States uses 2 layers is because that first layer is usually just all drenched in oil, and it's going to break apart if they just have one. So they usually use 2. Restaurants that make their own tortillas or hand press their own, they usually just give you 1, but it's a thicker tortilla. Well, we import our masa from the States. We use like the most popular masa brand in the world. We use top-notch quality stuff, so even our meat, like our beef asada, we don't use cheap cuts. We use choice USDA, and we use hanger steak, and it's really expensive. In Korean it's called toshisai, and toshisai is really, really expensive. There's only 2 pieces per cow, so you can imagine how expensive it is. So we don't cheap out on quality. My favorite burrito was again El Torino and King Taco. The only issue with that is I always ate an all-meat burrito, but in Korea to do an all-meat burrito it would cost like $30 a burrito, so we couldn't do that, so we had to make like a combo burrito. But yeah, definitely grew up eating a lot of those style burritos. Yeah, I do feel that way. It is kind of misleading. I mean, it is $7.50 for 2 tacos for asada tacos, but it would honestly translate to about under $7 in the States. And even if you go to El Torino or King Taco, 1 asada taco costs, I believe it's $2.55 now taco. So in that sense, it's not so bad. And I think we use better quality meat than El Torino and King Taco because there it's more about their sauce. We come out in the morning and we prep all of our stuff. We make everything fresh, so all our sauces don't usually go over 2 days. We make everything fresh, come out, press our tortillas by hand fresh every day, and yeah, just breaking down meat, making marinades, and yeah. I'm pretty much here 13 hours a day, 6 days a week. Get 1 day off, and of course that 1 day is dedicated to my wife. I knew it was going to be like that in the beginning. I mean, hopefully I can get to a point where I can just kind of oversee and not actually be hands-on. I guess the biggest challenge is growth. We're trying to introduce a new style of Mexican food to Koreans. I mean, I know our target market is Korean Americans or foreigners, but I mean, ultimately to do business and become successful in Korea, you have to market towards the Koreans. So that's why a lot of Mexican restaurants in Korea went more towards the fusion style to kind of fit the taste bud of Koreans, but I was totally against that. I promised myself I'll never do fusion. Yeah, like Tex-Mex style. So I promised myself I wouldn't do that. So I guess that's the biggest obstacle, is getting the Koreans to try my food and enjoy it. It says Koreans have this whole thing about cilantro, and they say cilantro tastes like soap. And once they try it, they go, hey, it's actually pretty good. So we've converted a few. Our mission is to convert everybody in this area. We want to expand not only in Korea, but we want to expand internationally. So we want to open a restaurant in Shanghai, maybe the Philippines, maybe even one in Hawaii, because Hawaii is missing some good tacos. So yeah, we want to go to Hawaii. So that's our goal. First, we need to hit the Korean market. This is our flagship store here, so we want to open up express shops all around Korea and introduce all of Korea to LA style Mexican food. So yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed that. Check out these playlists for more videos on cool things to do and see in Seoul. I'll talk to you next time. Bye!